All right, everybody. Hi, Daniel Ramsey here. I'm going to wait a couple minutes to get everybody in the call. We had over 100 people raise their hand, 100 businesses raise their hand and say, I'd like to see more and hear more. So I really appreciate you guys for being here today. Um, I never, ever, ever thought that working remotely would be a big deal for our economy. It I just thought MyOutDesk was a weird thing, and um, we were going to help other people discover what working remotely is. And then this week, Washington has a kind of a shelter in place thing. California joins, and right now the National Guard in California has just been called up. So this information today is really, really, really going to be valuable. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Daniel Ramsey. I'm the CEO and founder of MyOutDesk. Today should be 100% value for you. If you're here today, it's because you either own a business or you work in a business and you want to make sure your people are staying productive and you continue to kind of, you know, be in business, right? We're all struggling with that. One of my favorite restaurants in Sacramento, California, where we're headquarters, has just closed down, and it literally closed down indefinitely. So we're all out there. We're all in this together. And today, what we're gonna share is like literally 30 days ago. This is the craziness. 1 to 2% of our population worked remotely during some stage of the work week. And literally overnight, that percentage has now gone to over 50%. In fact, most of the country right now is struggling with, how do I cope with this? What do I need to do? How am I going to arrange my work situation, my life situation? You might be like me with little ones at home and telling them they can't come into daddy's office when they want to play or say hello or they're crying. That's a big deal. And so, today I'm gonna put together like everything that we've done as a company over the last 13 years to help other businesses go remote, and we're gonna add value. So thanks for being here again, and I really, really appreciate you. We're gonna just launch right in. Normally we do these webinars and we give away the item of value at the end of the webinar, but this time I just want to be clear. We're going to give it away right away. So if you're here right now in the chat, we've got Tim. He's going to be actually jumping in and giving you guys the guide that we're giving away. So there's a short link. Shelter in place. It's the guide for going remote. So some of you guys might be like me and like the details and also the big picture. We're going to go big picture on this call today, but the details, we had Jeremy. You guys can say hi to Jeremy. He spent, the last 2 weeks basically putting together everything that we're going to share today. He's our writer at the company and on the marketing team, and I'm really excited about him having this guide for you guys. So if you're listening right now, go into the chat, click on the shelter in place, the short link. That is your guide. You can take that guide, you can make it your own, you can add an addendum to it that's specific for your business. And it's going to have every detail as well as high level picture of what's going on and how to do this remote thing. So that's one piece of value I want to make sure you guys know. The other thing is, and I just want to be clear, China, Apple just reopened 42 of its stores in China. So this too shall pass. If anybody on this call has ever, you might be like me, I went through the 2000 crash where I was graduating college and had a job with a tech company. And then 2001 happened and they called me when I was coming in to sign paperwork and say there's a freeze on all hiring. So that was the first time I went through this. The second time was 2007, 2008. Had a business, 90% of my revenue went away in one quarter. And 2007 and 2008, if you were in business in that time, it was very challenging. But also 9/11. So I've been fortunate to go through each of those kind of cycles, and this is no different. This is just a bio recession, which is completely different than we've ever had before. But this too shall pass, and with great community of business people and all of us kind of sticking together and working hard together, I think we're going to get through this. In fact, I know we're going to get through this. So the guide is there. We've also got a really cool gift for you at the end. So wildly enough, I just finished this book. We launched it in December, actually, right before Christmas. So this book is probably the most timely thing that we've done as a company. And so at the end of this, we're going to definitely give it away. We've already put the text code in there if you'd like to jump on that quickly. It's a best-selling book. We were really fortunate to write it, and what a wild time for this to be all happening. The other thing is we're going to continue to give you guys high caliber, high value content over the next 30 to 60 days. Most of it is going to be focused around how to survive during this time and also thrive during a time of recession. So I want to remind everyone, right now is when wealth is built. Wealth, the biggest, the largest, wealthiest, most asset-driven companies in the world make all of their money in a recession and they collect it in a recovery. So that's the mindset I want to share with you guys. It's absolutely, so Tamara said, what's the book? It's Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals. And it's a full guide on going remote, having virtual assistants in your business. What's wild is I wrote that book to try to help our clients, and now I realize how important it is to be out there in the world. So we're giving it away for free to get you can get a PDF of it, or you can get a Kindle copy so you can read it on your phone or your iPad or whatever you have. So we're giving that away for free. If you're here, if you're a client of MyOutDesk, you should have access to it. But we're definitely giving that away, and you can just text a code SVP to get that thing. I also want to make sure you guys know there are three options in situations like this. You can ignore the situation, you can panic, or you can take action. Tomorrow, I'm working with some of the largest industry coaches out there, and we're putting together a how to survive and thrive through the recession. But I wanted to give you guys like some highlights right now. Increasing your touch points for your most influential clients. Those are people who are giving you referrals. Those are people who have their own lists and databases. Those are the people who maybe they're in your vendor program. Maybe they're in your sphere of influence, and you've given them a lot of business. Those are the people that you want to stay in relationship with. I know the last 5 days have been crazy. Starting last Thursday, every single day I've been on the hour or on the phone for hours with our clients, with our vendors, with our folks. The other thing, double down on your branding and your marketing, differentiating your business. You need to make sure that your message doesn't stop. That's a really important thing. Focus on adding value to your suppliers and vendors. Anybody in your supply chain could be hurting right now. So it's good to just pick up the phone and say, hello, how are you? Double down on your prospecting. A lot of huge teams are right now, huge businesses are using their sales team to reach out to clients, to say hello, to see how things are going, to see if they need anything. And I think that's really important. We're also talking about key talent and staying connected to your people. I've been on a consistent rotation with everybody on our team. That's going to continue, if not even more than double. So I really think it's important that you just kind of keep connected to your people. Manage cash and cut any and all fat, but don't cut muscle. The mistake that people make in these situations is they freak out, they overreact, and they start cutting the lead generation or revenue generation parts of their business. Do not do this. This is a temporary pause. And then client setup and employees to be fully remote. What we're doing right now is we're talking about how do you take your existing client base? How do you take your existing employees and you move to doing FaceTime on your phone, or you do Zoom calls like we're doing right now? So the last one is about what we're going to talk about today. Again, look forward to more content from us around how to kind of thrive through this recession. I know we've got some friends on. Bob Corcoran's here, who's a great friend to MyOutDesk, and we've been working with him to kind of, help our clients stay consistently on message. So thanks for being here, guys. And also remember, we're all in this together. This is just how it's going to be moving forward and for the next 90 days. Some things: Google, Facebook, Apple, all of the major corporations in California and Washington are closing their doors. What happens here is going to spread this concept of social distancing. Literally, last week I went to a coffee shop, and that coffee shop was still open, and it had more than 30 people. It was like a brand new coffee shop launching in my neighborhood. We were there to get something to go, but there was a massive amount of people. I think a lot of people, based on the conversations that we're having with our clients, many of our clients still are seeing restaurants and coffee places and businesses open. I do not think that's going to be the norm moving forward. I think we're going to see more and more remote work. And so for that reason, that's why we're doing this webinar today. The other thing is, if you're on this call right now, I want you to know this is meant to be interactive. So I don't want this to be me talking to you guys. I want this to be a two-way. So if you can right now, and if you're available, please pull out your chat feature in this Zoom call. And what I'd like you to do is just say, if you're live or if you're on the replay, and just say, what are some of your concerns around going remote, going fully virtual, as you kind of think about what it's going to be to transition your client base, your revenue generation, your employees. I was in my office last night getting wires and kind of the last things that I needed for my home office. And it was like a ghost town. The entire complex, which is a really huge complex, was shut down. So I really think what's happening here is going to spread. And this slide is interesting because here's what's happened. Like, there was growth in this outsourcing world of like going remote, but here's what's happening now. Like, more than 50% of our workforce will be fully remote. I have friends in manufacturing right now. I have friends that build things for a living. And what's interesting, I was just on the phone last night with one of them. He's actually moving to 3 different shifts. He's took all of his equipment and spread it out. They have different kind of protocols for when people come into the office and when people leave. He has gone from running one shift to literally doing social distancing in his manufacturing company. And this is a huge company. So, they're going to slow down the amount of product that they're producing, and it's going to be challenging to continue to stay open. So I think this is a huge topic, and I think it's really valuable that you guys are all here today. Again, 50% of the U.S. workforce is going to be remote by 2020. This is what's crazy. 73% of teams will have remote staff over the next 10 years. What's wild about that number is literally just 2 weeks ago, the number was 2%. So you can imagine the stuff that's happening for sure. It's getting crazier and crazier. I love it. You guys are starting to go into the chat. And so I'm going to get, Tony said distraction. She's live. Aaron, I have a real estate company and looking to give good advice to agents and clients. Aaron, we're definitely going to talk about that. That was slide. It was I think it's the 3rd slide in here. We're going to talk through what conversations do you need to have with your people. I'm also going to show you guys exactly our system. So exactly what we use at MyOutDesk to be 100% remote, which is kind of wild. It looks like Kelly, my lack of technology background and newness in my field. Kelly, I am with you. I don't know if you see my cords here. I had to last night go and figure out how to hardwire my internet because my Wi-Fi wasn't working well. I think we'll get through this. Tony says kids, instant messages. I love it. How do I know if my team that's now remote are doing their job? I really like that question, Bob. We're going to definitely go over how you can keep connected with your team. And I'm not going to give you guys like theory. I'm just going to simply I'm going to kill these slides. I'm going to pull up our company's way of doing it. So that's for sure. I've got Chuck, good friend. I have no concerns about working remotely. Bob taught me everything I need to know. Hey, there you go. Biggest concern is giving remote employees access to all my client data and CRM programs. Not sure how to safeguard it. That's a great one. Fear that it will take too much time to manage, like my VAs are doing the things properly. I get managing fear. We're going to talk about how to reduce that. So hey guys, keep the questions coming. I think this is phenomenal. You guys, as you know, many companies right now are going through this change, and people are freaking out. And so my job right now today is to give you some tools to help you guys be 100% remote. Okay, so let's launch in to our next thing. The biggest, and the reason we're starting with this is the largest tool at MyOutDesk that we have. I'm going to go through these kind of points, and then I'm literally going to pull the screen up and show you guys how we do it. I'm a big fan of RingCentral. It's powered by Zoom. We're on a Zoom call right now. But what I love about RingCentral is you can do calling, you can do texting, you do team messaging, and you can do a video conference. Basically, with RingCentral, one platform for $34, I think, you can actually have your entire office in one spot doing phone calls, videos, text, and messaging. So for us, this has been the biggest thing that's helped us also do this transition. So I'm just going to pause. I'm going to pause our screen right now, and then just literally launch into where we're at. Here we go. Okay, so we've got a lot of things to share. First of all, here we go. So within RingCentrals, there's something called Glip, and Glip is the messaging platform. And guys, this is I've got our sales team up here. The good news is we're continuing to have a lot of sales despite this freak out inside of the stock market, bonds, interest rates. So that's a good thing. But you can kind of see right here, our entire company is set up on Glip. What I love about Glip too is you can launch phone calls. So you can go over here and you can call somebody. You can send a text message. You can do recording. So when somebody calls my work phone, it goes directly into Glip in the phone section, and I can see if I missed a call, if I have a voicemail, if somebody sent me a text message. So in our world, RingCentral functions as our phone system, as our messaging app. Everything about our company right now is ran virtually through this. And you can kind of see, the messages that we have. The other one that I like is our inter-office kind of platform. This is really important too. This morning, I asked our team, hey, since we're all fully remote, can you shoot over what's your internet speed? How fast is your business or is your home internet connection? And this is another thing. That is very important, that you kind of just do a touch base with your team. So this is killer. The other thing, we wrote a virtual kind of remote culture. This is a big deal. Most companies have never had to build culture remotely. And most companies have never had to stay connected with their people ever. So we've got these 20 steps, and we call it a dummy-proof guide. And that's not something that's bad or detrimental. I actually wanted something that was dummy-proof so I could see it and actually say, okay, this works. But in this, and we're putting this link right now in the chat, so you guys have links back to our blogs, and keep coming to our blogs, because we're going to put this video there. We're going to put everything, the remote guide, this kind of stuff here. We're putting all this on our blogs because this is the best place to get information. some cool things, like we had a dress up party a couple months ago, and people won an iPhone. The person that had the most intricate dress for that dress up party won an iPhone, which was over $1,200 kind of worth of value. And it was just kind of a cool exercise. But you'll see in here all of the tricks. Here's some charity work that we do. And so this is a really great spot to kind of just bring people back to, hey, how do I do this virtually? Okay, so I'm launching back into our current slide deck. Here we go. And I apologize for the back and forth. It's just the best way for us to show you how exactly we do things here at MyOutDesk. And I don't want there to be any questions or concerns around, is Daniel literally giving us the value, or is he just kind of making this stuff up? Because there's a lot of information out there that isn't really relevant for what's going on. Okay, so essential equipment. This is going to sound crazy, but when you go remote, you have to think through things like computers, okay? You need to ask questions of your employees like, hey, do you have any needs? We had one of our people, Jeremy, who's on this call, somebody broke into his car and stole his headset. So like, how did we know that was going to happen? We just didn't. And so you have to create these open lines of communication with not only your employees, but also your clients, because you're going to be doing these remote kind of conversations, hopefully remote sales conversations over the next, 30, 60, 90 days. So some important things: a portable computer. No, that sounds crazy, but a lot of businesses are still in the 90s and the early 2000s, and they have desktops. Fortunately, MyOutDesk, we went to laptops maybe 7-8 years ago. We're 100% laptop, but that's not normal. So I have friends out there buying Mac books for their employees, buying Chromebooks for their employees so that they can actually do the work in their office. We talked about a VoIP phone system. This is a really important thing. We have, and this is crazy, we had some mail come to the office yesterday, and we realized we didn't have a system set up for our mail. So do we need to have a phone in the front desk so that the mail guy can pick it up and call our 1-800 number so that we can figure, when are we going to collect the mail? That's one example of we just weren't prepared to have it being fully remote. The other thing is a headset. Right now, and if you can see my screen, I've got a Puck, which is great for noise. It's noise canceling. It's good for webinars. But when you're doing remote conferencing, the most important thing that you have is a great, clear microphone, so that people can hear you, people can be a part of the conversation. Wildly enough, a comfortable chair. We had some of our folks take chairs home with them, which is great because we want our people to either sit or stand and be comfortable. Notepads, planners, calendars, wildly enough, dual screens. That's another area that is just super important. If you have anybody that's on a computer doing remote calls or remote, you might have sales calls where you have to use Zoom or RingCentral to actually talk and interact with your clients. It's really important that they have dual screens so that you can have one screen for the data and for the information and the other screen for the client. So you're locked in eyes with that client and you're giving them love and making sure that they hear you and all of your attention is there. Reliable internet. You guys saw, we started the day and say, hey, what's your internet speed? This is a big deal that you're hardwired and that you have reliable internet. Those are some of the most important points that we can share with you about the equipment. But here's the thing. Biggest deal in all of that is the direct communication with leadership. So you need to talk with your clients, you need to talk with your employees, you need to ask them the question, are you set? Do you have everything you need? This is a big deal. Good headsets. I'm a big fan of the AirPods. I do think they're the best out there. The other one that I really like, I'm blanking on the headset that we use in our office, but I'm going to put a link in this, John. So thanks for your question. I'll put a link of exactly the one that you can do. Will the internet bog down with such a huge increase in use? I think one thing that's kind of challenging about internet is I had to plug in. I have very fast internet, 92 Mbps in my home. And when I went on to test it, it's phenomenally fast. But yesterday I was doing phone calls and I was on my Wi-Fi on my laptop. And those phone calls were frustrating to my employees because I was cutting in and out. So I was asking them a question and they couldn't understand. So one of the biggest things is literally as a leader, you need to jump on the phone, get on video with every single one of your employees and just ask them how their speed is and what's going on. And hey, are you able to do work? The other thing, and I want to make this point about communication, we have that great chat application, Glip, which comes free with Ring Central. However, with some of your people, you might say, hey, look, for you and me, I need to be in direct communication. We're gonna connect. We'll trade information on chat, but if we need to talk, we're just simply gonna use chat, or we're gonna simply use cell phone and text each other, or call one another on the phone. So that's a big deal. The other thing is FaceTime, Skype, Facebook Messenger, and or the video chat in Facebook. Those are all great things. I want to remind everybody that your clients will choose the method that they want to communicate. Last night, I had a great conversation with one of our largest clients, and he was eating chips, and you could tell. And so I was like, hey, do you mind if I eat chips? He was like, yeah, no problem. And so we talked about what was going to happen over the next 60, 90 days while we were eating chip on our cell phones. So the reality is your clients will dictate where and how, but if you can get face-to-face with them using FaceTime, Skype, Facebook, these are the normal things that consumers will have to communicate with you. All right. So some other tools I want to make sure you guys have or have considered: Glip, Slack, Google Chat, Facebook, task management. Now, this is a huge, huge, huge one. Lisa, you have a great question. I want to get to it, and this is where we're gonna answer it. Really important for everyone who's listening right now. This is probably one of our biggest tools that we use as a company. I'm going to end the slideshow and then jump into the meat and potatoes here. Lisa asks, how do we trust the employer-employee relationship and making sure that everything is kind of look, we need to make sure people are continuing to be productive. That's the thing that has to happen. And so right now, I'm sharing screens. I want to share with you guys a couple things. One, our chief people officer put together a survey. We've done a couple drills where our entire office has gone remote. We did one last week and we did one this week. And unfortunately, California, in the middle of our drill said, hey, you're 100% remote. So go home, don't come into the work anymore. And it was really important. I want to share with you guys this great survey. So how do you create trust and continue to have productivity? I believe the answer lies in massive and consistent conversation and communication from the leadership to the employees so that everybody knows exactly what's going on and why, what's happening. So how effective did you feel in your overall productivity? How effective did you communicate with your peers? How effective do you communicate with clients? Do you encounter any limitations in doing any of the work while we were doing our drill? Those are the 3 or 4 questions. And we had people respond saying, hey, I need something. I know we took some equipment home. We took some wires home. We took some laptops home. And these are some of the things that you have to consider as the leader is like, hey, you have to support your people, your employees, as we transition to this fully remote stuff. The next thing I want to share with you is we use something called My Time In. So for all of our virtual assistants out there, they log in and their time is tracked and they can do something called a start of day and end of day reports. So we're going to go over those in just a hot minute. But I want to share with you some of the data that we look at every single day and the ways that we manage tasks so that I know everybody's kind of staying productive and we're staying fully in a space of positivity. So every single day, and this is a great email that I get on a daily basis, making sure that all of our systems are still operating, meaning our websites are still up. Here are all the PH websites, all the websites that we have in the Philippines. Here's all of our systems. Is Glip working? Is Ring Central Fax working? I know that sounds funny because who faxes anymore? Nobody, right? But it's still a feature that we have, and we've gotten a couple faxes, wildly enough. So every day I get this report around, are all of our systems up and effectively working? That is a huge deal. The other thing is we use a task management platform called Monday, and that's what I have up here right now. And there's a ton of them. If you're listening right now, some of the best ones. I love Asana. It's completely free. Trello is a good task management and also a checklist board. Microsoft Teams is out there. Now, as a company, we use for marketing, the marketing department, we use Monday, and I'm going to show you how this works. So if you can see, one of the things that we do on a regular basis is our blogs. So blogs are out there, and tasks get assigned inside of Monday, and we can know if somebody's working on it and who's the person that's working on it. And if there's a deadline, it goes in here. If there's segmented tasks, meaning there's somebody who's writing it, there's somebody who's creating images. These are just some of the ways that you can start to kind of see how we're assigning tasks and seeing if people are staying productive. And I think this is one of the best things that you can do inside of your business, is just by having a task management platform. Okay, we went over video conferencing. I'm going to launch back into the slide, play from current slides. Here we go. We're back into it. So video conferences, we talked about that. File sharing. I love Google Drive because it connects with my phone. I know we had a question earlier, is like, how do we trust, or how do we keep the kids and distractions away? One thing that we're implementing is like, my wife and I, we're syncing our calendars now. We have a family calendar that we always synced kind of what we did on the weekends or evenings and whatever we had as a mutual commitment. But I'm giving her access to my work calendar. So, and you can see I'm in my home office. So she'll actually be able to look at my calendar and realize he's on a client call, or he's on a webinar like we are right now, or you know what, he has a hole. It looks like he's not there yet. So this is another place that you can kind of add value to each other and get rid of those distractions. Document signing, we use HelloSign. We've used DocuSign in the past. This is another way. If your business involves paper right now, I would transition immediately away from there. Employee scheduling, T-Sheets, Time Doctor, Time Camp, My Time In, which is a platform that we have internally for our people. Those are some of the systems you can use to kind of keep an understanding of what your employees are doing. And believe me, you have to have frank conversations with your folks. Like, hey, I need you here fully present and productive because we're going through this time of kind of transition. So that's a really big one. Client scheduling, we use Schedule Once. There's a ton out there where you can open your calendar and your clients can kind of jump in. So those are some of the kind of tools and software that we use. Now, the next slide is a hilarious slide. It's weird to even think, yes, you have to wear pants when you come to work in a virtual scenario. You need to have your camera on and be ready to go. Another thing that we do is we have the default record button always on. So all of our virtual meetings are always recorded unless we go and we delete the recording portion of the thing. I think that's really important. Meeting invitations. If you're going to meet, there needs to be a topic and a reason and a time frame. Like, these are the things that I want to cover. This is the reason for the meeting. And then in that meeting, you need to assign roles and responsibilities and also determine a follow-up time. When you're physically in an office, you can just go knock on somebody's door and it's not a big deal. But when you're virtual, you might be interrupting somebody's workflow. You might be interrupting a client conversation. You just wouldn't know it because you can't hear them. And so you just don't know. So one of the most important things is just sharing calendars, making sure everybody is respectful, and having a way for leadership, employees to request your time. So these are all some of the things that we've used as a company to really stay productive in a virtual world. The other thing, communication, I want to go through this. This is a very fast slide. Standardize your file naming conventions. In a physical world, this is less. When you're using folders and you can label the folder, this is less important. But when you go to a virtual world, this is really, really an important thing. And actually, to be frank, it's helpful regardless of what kind of business you're in or what you're up to. So organizational chart, business process flows, and by stakeholders. So these are some ways that we at MyOutDesk use our kind of file naming convention to stay organized. I'm going to show you guys real quick. I'm going to stop in the slideshow and go back. I know this is distracting, but I really think this is important. If you're looking at my screen right now, this is my personal naming convention, waiting for someday projects, the businesses that I own, archive, and agenda. Literally in the agenda file, all of the virtual meetings that I've had over the last couple of months go right here. And this is an easy way, a fast way of keeping track of what you're up to. So waiting for someday project, and this is from Get Things Done, a guy named, I think his name is David Allen, and it's a great naming convention. It's a great way to organize your files, and it's a great way to just keep all of the information in your world quickly accessible. So we're going to launch back into the slide and keep moving forward. Guys, there's only a couple more slides going down, and then we're here. Acronyms for remote accountability. A lot of questions are, how do I make sure my people are productive? Here's a rule. If you're on our messaging platform and you need to step away from your desk, I always ask that people go, be right back in the time frame along with the reason. So again, we're all connected, and this app can be right here on your phone. This app can be on your laptop. This app is something in any kind of a messaging app where your entire internal office and external teams are together, where you can kind of keep tabs on what people are doing. That's probably the biggest way that we're keeping our people accountable. The other thing is we have a client who does a virtual lounge. I love, his name's Matt Wagner, and he has everybody up on a virtual lounge, and you can come in and out, and people get to see each other all the time. So it's like, even though they're fully remote, they have 40 plus employees all across the country. Because of their virtual lounge, they feel connected to each other. So that's another kind of thing that you can adapt in your business if you want to. Work overload. I'm experiencing scope creep. So scope creep is when somebody asks you for something and then you ask them for more things. Bio break. I need to go to the bathroom. Be right back. Task list. I love checklists and managing my day by spreadsheets. One thing to get away from is just having a checklist for the sake of having a checklist. I really want to make sure that you guys are clear. I have a to succeed list and then a to-do list. And the to-do list is never what I focus on. It's always the to succeed list. And sometimes I'm using paper. I also really, really love OneNote to keep me organized. That's another area that I use to do lists. And I want to talk about next is start of day and end of day reports. If you have a virtual professional with us already, you've experienced start of day and end of day reports. These are really great tools to have an idea from a manager's perspective of what people are doing. So a start of day report, like for instance, today I jumped into our messaging platform and I said, hey, look, guys, I'm preparing for this webinar. I've got this webinar. I've got a client call, and then I'm going to jump on with these people within the business. This is what you put on a start of day report. And then at the end of day report, you're putting all of the people that you talked with, whether it's salespeople or employees or, you know, potential clients. You're listing out everybody that you kind of interacted with, everything that you accomplished for the day. And that way you can kind of say, okay, these are the things that I have that I actually accomplished, and these are the things that I'm pushing to the next day. And believe me, these start of day reports and end of day reports are something that will help build trust with a fully distributed, fully remote team. So that's another really big thing. I love company-wide activity reports. This is in the book. And if you're listening right now, again, you can get this book by going to texting SVP to 31996. But this company-wide activity report, even in this moment of uncertainty, the biggest deal is staying productive and contacting clients and not stopping on the revenue generation portion of your business. So as a company, we consistently are figuring out exactly how many calls we're having every day, how many consultations we're having every day, how many hours of conversation we're having every single day. So we get a report and I can actually see on our dashboard, are we increasing our activity or decreasing our activity? That's a really big deal for your teams, because then they know, hey, these people my leadership is paying attention. My leadership cares about my productivity, because believe me, 100%, productivity inside of a business will mean we're going to keep jobs and keep businesses healthy. All right, guys, here we go. Time management, time block on your Google Calendar. We talked about this, or on Outlook. Work environment, it's really important. You guys can see behind me right here, we have our pop-up. I asked our sales team to really prepare your environment. Prepare your environment for having success with our clients. So make sure you're in a closed room. Make sure that you have the right lights so that people can see you and communicate with you. Make sure you have all the equipment you need. And we went over equipment, but this is more about what it's like to have a working environment. My kids who are used to running, and you guys can see this, we have the BBC guy. This video went viral because he's on TV and he's doing a newscast, and then his kids come dancing through and he's like trying not to be distracted and trying to stay focused. It's a hilarious video. But you know, we've with my wife and kids and the folks in my life that we all care about, you have to have a conversation where you're saying, look, between this time and this time, I'm in my office and I'm still working. I'm not going to come out for breaks. I'm not going to, you can't come in here unless we've agreed. And I've asked my wife to just text me if you need to come in. And that is going to keep us productive. It's going to keep us on the right routine. We have pop-ups. Make sure that they have everything they need. Great cameras is a big deal. You guys can see, if you're looking at me right now, this camera right here, I brought from the office day one, and it doesn't have a high resolution. So I had to switch it out. It wasn't good for video conferencing. And that was a big deal for us. So you just want to also establish routines for self-care. Now, this sounds crazy, but you need to, as the leader, and your people need to, every single day, continue to take walks, to continue to exercise, continue to make time to read and be with your family and have some positivity. There's a lot of negative news going on right now, and there's a lot of positive stuff that just doesn't get in there, like the fact that Google and Facebook and all of these stocks are still doing decently. I mean, that's good news. And then Apple's open in China. The amount of infection around the world in certain countries are dropping dramatically. You won't see that in the news, but it's really important to make sure that you as a leader and your people are in a good space in terms of your mindset. Write it all down. One thing, Heidi asked the question, what light setup do you recommend? I'm lucky because in my office, I've got some puck lights that just kind of naturally come down, but we had to buy some lighting for some of our sales folks because their office or their home office didn't have the appropriate light or it didn't look good. So you can just go on Amazon. There's some like really inexpensive lighting things that you can put behind you or to the side of you so that your clients can see you face to face and interact in a positive way. And these things are like $30 to $50. We're not talking about a lot of money, but that's an important piece, is the right lighting. Okay, John, that is exactly what I'm struggling with. My husband is now working at home and it's reasonably small condo, lots of adjustments going on. John, man, Yep, that is exactly what is happening. People, our families are condensed. I'll tell you, for my wife, no gym, no childcare, no outings with the kids. I mean, it's crazy to be at home 100% of the time. We've been doing a lot of online kid learning classes. If you're an entrepreneur right now and you've got some extra time reading books, don't get distracted on Netflix or don't get distracted binge watching a bunch of shows. This is the time to double down on your business. All the projects that you've been holding off on because you didn't have time, now you can actually do them, which gets me to the next thing, standard operating procedures. Let's jump this on. Let's make sure we put this link in the chat right now. And then before we end, I'm gonna go through some questions. So if you haven't gotten to a place to actually ask questions, again, what you want to do is just, if you're live with us right now, put live, and then you're concerned about going remote. If you're on the replay, put replay, and then you're concerned. We're going to answer those questions as we go through the kind of workday and also in this video. So SOPs, we've got a link we're going to give you guys in the chat. It's our version of how to do an SOP. So how to write standard operating procedures. This is another opportunity for leaders to really lead when it comes to remote work. The thing about when you're physically in an office, there's a lot of tribal knowledge that you can just kind of come up to somebody and say, hey, this is how we do it. When you're remote, the best thing you can do is write an SOP, do something that we call play, pause, do, where you're on a video conference just like this, and you're sharing your screen and you're talking through the what, the why, and the how of doing a particular task. And then you take that task and then you write out standard operating procedures. Now you've created a process inside of your business, by the way, that makes your business more valuable. These are the things that drive valuations for when you decide to sell. And writing standard operating procedures when you're normally busy and running around and you don't have time, that can feel like you're taking away revenue. But right now's the time to get standard operating procedures for your marketing process, for your sales process, for your operational process. And we love to take those videos and throw them on Google and our Drive. And these are some of the things that we've been helping our clients with. All right, we are going to give away the book one more time. Again, we have 13 years of experience, over 5,000 clients served happily, got over 400 5-star reviews. If you guys have questions, I just want you to know we are here for you 100%. We want to help you go remote. We want to help you organize, what your days need to look like during this time of recession. This is a little mini recession. We're going to jump right back out of this. So right now is the time to go into and work harder. Right now is the time to survive this kind of shift and come out of it with more market share than your competitors. So I really want to make that point. Okay, so the book, again, you just text SVP to 31996 and you're going to get a copy of the book. It's right here. And then I'm going to go through the questions and make sure that we've answered everything. I'm going to come off, stop the share. We're going to go 100%. Here we are. We're here together. So I really appreciate you guys for being here today. This has been phenomenal. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We're here to support you. Thanks for joining Bob and Chuck and John. That was a great question. If you found value and if you need any support in this transition, all of this stuff is on our blogs. All of the things that we've talked about today are in our book too. And so we just really appreciate you guys for joining today. The physical book. Oh, great question. Amazon. So if you go to Amazon, you can get a physical copy of the book. I think it's like $14, $15. It's well worth it because what I did is I took 13 years of this working virtual and working with virtual assistants and I put them into a book, and it's 100% directed towards people who want to have a blended office where some of your folks are physical and some of your folks are virtual. Unfortunately, right now we can't have any physical. So this book is more timely than ever. The link is right there. Jessica, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you. We've got the SOPs, great points from Chuck Lemire. Chuck, thank you. Light, we got that one. Let's see, prepare your work environment for client success. I really want to stress sales don't stop. We're going to do a webinar tomorrow with a bunch of folks, and what that's going to be is that's going to be 100% focused on how to continue to sell and not have client cancellations. No matter what you want to do is you want to reduce your cost of your product or service. You want to put a week or two pause for somebody who's struggling. What you don't want to do is let opportunity slip away. And tomorrow we're going to be focusing on that one. Somebody asked, I use a Logitech camera. They're like $30-$40 on Amazon. And so really inexpensive way to communicate virtually like we're doing right now. And gosh, I think this is great, you guys. I really appreciate you guys. MyOutDesk is here to serve you. If you have any concerns or problems, we want you to know that we're here. Let's get that guide going remote in the chat so everybody has it. And thanks again so much for being here today with MyOutDesk, myself. Good luck during this time of uncertainty. Thanks guys. Bye-bye.